Hey guys, so today I'm going to be giving you some in-depth GameSense tips. This is one that I actually have not done yet. GameSense is pretty much your ability, it's like your sense for like kind of how to play the game or for different aspects of the game. So it doesn't necessarily tie into aim, it's more about kind of like where the enemies are, knowing what to do, how to strategize most efficiently. So the first tip is going to be frequently ask yourself if it's possible for enemies to be in certain locations. So for example, say we're at the start of the round, right? The barrier just dropped. I'm going to ask myself, okay, could there be someone here? And the answer is yes. So you want to place your crosshair here. Not only do you want to ask yourself if there's someone here, but you also want to follow up and place your crosshair there and also expect them to be here. Whereas a really low rank player might kind of be, you know, like looking here. When in reality, there's really no chance that they can be here, right? Like the barriers for them are here and somewhere in this tunnel. So they can't be here. The only place they can really be is right here. So this is, you know, this is something you want to be thinking about throughout every single round, like always, every game you play. So I'll be looking here. Or when I'm mid, I'll also look like right here and then up in nest, see if they're here. You know, I don't really ask myself. I'm more kind of just in the mode of like, okay, are they here? Are they here? I'm like always placing my crosshair. My crosshair is doing the questioning, right? Like, okay, my crosshair's like, okay, are they here? Are they here? Okay, they could be here. I'll do this as well over here. We can go to B. You know, okay. Can they be here? Because they can push here. Yeah. Can they be up here? They can be here. And you pretty much want to do this even after you like take the site and things become a little more unclear about where the enemies could be later in the game. Because like by the time you plant, the enemies can be flanking, they can be here, they can be here, they can be here. So you really want to kind of expect the unexpected in the later rounds and try to position yourself in ways that are, you know, best for you to kind of predict where the enemies are going to come from. So the next tip is remember how the enemy team and your team have been playing. So this also kind of ties into predicting like where enemies might be at, but this is basically for like game specific. If you're in a game and enemies are doing something that is kind of weird, you want to remember that for future rounds so that you kind of expect it. So for example, if you're playing against someone that is sitting on the left side of nest, and they kind of wait until you're all the way up here to peek, then what you want to do is kind of just expect them to be there and expect them to peek from here on the left side, which is kind of uncommon, right? But if you're playing against someone on the enemy team that's doing that, then you want to take note of that and, you know, kind of keep it in mind. Also, remember how your team has been playing. So if your team kind of is prone to not really listen to what you're saying, then kind of maybe bait them or something. You know, like if they're just going to run into the site brainlessly, try to bait them, try to make use of, you know, their poor decisions, or maybe, you know, yeah, just basically try to figure out like some patterns in your team and the enemy team and kind of capitalize on those patterns. And through time, this will kind of help you be better at predicting what you could best do. So the next tip is don't autopilot. Have a reason or plan for pretty much everything that you do. Specifically at the start of the round on defense, we could say. So a lot of people that I coach, they will go to one place here and they'll just kind of like stay here. So I think a better example is probably like A. So say you play A and you just play the same spot every round, regardless of what happens. You stay right here and you fight people. So say you get a kill here and then say the next round you die and then you keep coming here. So the reason this is bad is not only are you not swapping your position up from this angle, but you're also neglecting to imagine where else could they come from. Where else could I play to kind of counter the enemies? Could I go B and predict a B push and then actually get like 3 kills there? Could I push mid and flank them? Could I flank A? Right, there's so many options that you have whenever you're defending. Also on attack, this is prevalent, but more on defense is what I see for sure. So kind of just imagine all of your opportunities on defense. Where can you defend from? This doesn't really apply to sentinels because you want to be anchoring sites for the most part as sentinels. But if you're a duelist or any other role, you can pretty much play around, swap around. You can ask someone to swap for you. You don't have to ask people to swap for you, especially if you're a duelist. But kind of just experiment and see what parts of the map you can kind of play that you aren't really used to playing, because that is definitely holding you back if you aren't taking advantage of that right now. So mainly make sure that you're not playing the same area on the same site over and over and over again without thinking about it. You want to give it a thought. You want to think, okay, you know, where else could I be playing? What else could I be doing right now instead? And this is an important one for sure. So anyways, the next one is imagine what the best possible thing you can do throughout each round is. So again, this is kind of like trying to figure out where enemies are at a certain point in time. Like, can they be here? No, not really. Can they be here? But instead of trying to think where the enemies are, it's what is the best thing for me to do. So on attack, say I'm attacking, the best thing to do right now is simply just kind of look for weak links and the enemy's defense and see if they're gonna peek you and see if they're gonna give you a free kill. So like, say I'm basically on attack. My default mode is kind of just see if enemies are going to peek me anywhere, unless my team is saying let's hard push somewhere. I'm kind of just seeing if enemies are going to peek me anywhere. Like, okay, I'm looking here, seeing if they're going to peek. I'm looking here, seeing if they're peeking for a kill. Then if not, I'm going to keep taking space. That's my goal. Okay, what's the best thing to do now? Say my teammates get 2 kills on A. The best thing for me to probably do is probably going to be to run. I would run this way, so I have this cover, and then kind of look over here, and then look back, and go support my team on A, right? And if you keep staying mid and you don't ask yourself, should I group with my team here? Then you're going to be putting your team and your chance to win the round at a pretty good disadvantage. So again, similarly, if your team's coming out B, they get kills, they get control of site, you're going to want to at least kind of continue working your way up here so that you can kind of, you know, help your team toward the site. If you're on A and your team is planting B, that's a problem. You want to be thinking, okay, what is the best thing for me to do at this point in time? Also, this applies on defense. You know, should I rotate? Should I stay here? Should I push up? Should I flank? Stuff like that. Ask yourself what you should be doing. What's the most optimal thing for me to be doing? And you know, you're gonna find that this is gonna help you improve your game sense significantly. If you're asking, actively probing your mind for kind of like what should I be doing. The next and final tip is learn from mistakes and adapt future plans. So again, this ties into all of these. If you're gonna make mistakes, you're human, right? You couldn't be watching this video if you, I mean, actually that's a lie. Anyway, learn from your mistakes. If you make mistakes in any of the other rules I just gave you, then figure out like why you made that mistake, and then in future times that you apply those rules, try not to make the same mistake. Try to, you know, try to adapt, try to improve, and not make that mistake. Because if you're not making that mistake, it means you're better, quite frankly, and it means that you've improved. And hopefully over time you're going to be making more minor mistakes instead of significant mistakes. And yeah, so those are all the tips I have for you. Really, how to improve your game sense comes down to is actively probing your mind and actively thinking, okay, what could I do better? What could I do? What could I have done differently there? What could I do differently now? And this is a process that never changes throughout all games, throughout all rounds you play on any map in Valorant. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.